What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cards and Coffee. On today's deck talk, we're going to be digging into a deck that's actually one of the funnest variants of Branded that I've actually been able to play so far. This deck has a bunch of different combo lines, and if you guys would like to see a combo video, let me know. I'll make an entirely separate video for this deck, but for sure, at a minimum, at the end of this, I will make sure to give you guys at least the main one-card combo. The ending board is pretty insane. We're going to go through the card by card. I'll show you exactly what I'm playing and why I'm playing it, and hopefully by the end of this you guys will see what makes this deck so great. But before all that, please go grab yourself a cup of coffee or something, that way you guys can sit down and tune in. Let's do this. Alright, so before digging into this profile, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. All the support goes a long, long way. This channel has been growing way faster than I ever thought it would, so thank you again for supporting the channel. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing, like the video. Keep your eyes out. I'm going to be starting up a Twitch in the next week or two, so I'll be going live, have a bunch of different things planned. And of course, if you have any video requests or questions about today's video, let me know down below. I'll gladly answer. Alright, so hopping over to the profile, Tri-brigade has definitely gone through some changes over the years, and while it might not be the best deck like it used to in the past, there is still so many different things you can do with this deck to help keep it in today's meta and compete at a very high level. The most recent iteration of this deck has been the DPE variant, and this deck actually functions very similar to that, except for instead of relying on the DPE engine to have one boss monster that can contribute to a grind game with your deck, now we just go into Mirror Jade, which is an amazing interruption, but also the advantage you generate off of its effect and all the other cards that fall in line with it actually is pretty crazy. So starting things off, of course, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit. There are so many different 2 and 3 card combos in this deck that can put up some really amazing boards and also play through multiple hand traps, but I will say Rescue Cat by itself is the only 1 card combo that can accomplish the entire full first turn board. Rescue Cat is a pretty big Ash Blossom target, and there are other hand traps that can get in the way of this, so don't get me wrong, it is a magnet for hand traps, but we do play other cards to help mitigate that problem. But just know, if Rescue Cat resolves, you're probably going to be in a really amazing place. After the Rescue Cat, it's a pretty standard Tri-brigade lineup. Of course, we're going to be playing 3 Fractal, just the best starter for your deck, followed by 3 copies of Nerval. This is obviously the searcher for the deck. And then, of course, 3 copies of Kit. We max this out because, of course, we are on Rescue Cat. And something that's a little bit different, I'm playing 3 copies of Cross this time around. Cross is just the in-engine extender for the deck, and I really like drawing this card right now. And while it can lead to some bricky hands from time to time, I just feel like by playing 3, not only does it help Rescue Cat have more targets, especially in the late game, but the game right now is just so fast, and if you don't have extenders to play through all these hand traps, it can be kind of hard for your deck to play through. Another new thing for the deck is the brand new Tri-brigade Mirror Courier. This card is really amazing in this deck. It doesn't have any of the on-field effects that all the other Tri-brigades do that let you summon a Link monster from the extra deck, but it does have 2 really amazing effects. The main one that we like to abuse is whenever it's banished, you can add a monster that mentions Albaz in its text from deck to hand. And the other effect is it's basically an effect Veiler on field or in hand. You can send it to the grave while you control a fusion that lists Albaz as a material. It's really great because it doesn't matter if it's on the field or in the grave or banished or in the hand. This card is so amazing, it stops any monster effect anywhere. So in case you don't know, you might be asking yourself what the heck we're going to be searching off of this, and it's been growing in popularity in some of the other decks as well. We're playing one Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. In case you don't know what this does, you can send a branded spell or trap from either your hand or deck to the graveyard while this card is in your hand or graveyard, and depending where you send it from, it does a different thing. If you send one from your hand, you could special summon it as a body to help you link summon. Or if you send it from the deck, which is what you're going to do 9 times out of 10, you get to put it back at the bottom of the deck and draw one card. Again, you'll see it when I start to do that one card combo at the end of the video, but you can generate a lot of free pluses off of this. And in addition, you get to recycle this Mercurier in the process because we are going to be sending our trap card, Branded Sword. Branded Sword is basically a token generator, but we never use that effect. It's pretty rare if we ever come across that scenario. But the main reason we're playing this is for its graveyard effect, where it can banish itself from the grave to recycle a monster that lists Albaz in it from your banish zone back to hand. So basically, you'll get Mercurier in the grave by some means, you'll banish it for one of your Tri-brigade effects, it'll search you the Albion, Albion will dump the trap, you'll get to draw a card, and then of course the Mercurier is banished from your Tri-brigade, so now you can banish the trap to re-add the Mercurier back to hand. Now for the last little bit of the branded package, of course we're playing the Albaz. You only need one because we're only playing the one branded fusion. I've seen some builds play 2, and you definitely could get away with it, but the fact that it locks you into fusions if you hard activate it makes it to where I rarely want to see this card. And the beautiful thing about Tri-brigade is if you draw all these combo pieces that you need in deck, the deck inherently puts cards from your hand back into the deck in your combo. So really, the consistency of pulling off these combos is so easy. So that's it for the Tri-brigades and the branded stuff. I'll show you guys the combo at the end. I think you guys, if you haven't seen it already, will really like it. Moving on to some of the extra spell cards we're playing. Of course, we're playing the one Tenki. It searches the Fractal, so why the heck not? We also have the one Foolish Burial for consistency. It dumps the Nerval to search, or the kit to fill up the grave. It also gets the Mercurier engraved, so that way you can start banishing it and generating a bunch of card advantage. Another one of we're playing is the one Called by the Grave. Of course, this is really amazing right now. Helps you play through boards and play through hand traps. Very great with the utility you get off of this card. There's DPE, there's all these branded cards that stops branded in red. Again, while your deck typically just does one normal summon and a special summon, there are ways that you can extend these plays further, and also having cards like Called by the Grave and Crossout Designator, you can make your plays even crazier. Crossout Designator is a really amazing card right now. So many people are playing a bunch of hand traps. There has been a few recent deck lists that have been cutting back on hand traps, but I personally think if you're not playing branded Despia, then I don't know, it's a little risky to go that route. So like I mentioned, we're playing a bunch of hand traps, and one of my favorite ones in this deck is the Psy-Frame package. Of course, we're going to be playing the driver. That way we can play the 3 copies of Gear Gamma. Gamma is really amazing. Of course, one of the strongest hand traps in the game. It's also really amazing alongside Rescue Cat. You also have Fractal, Tenki, Foolish Burial, heck, even Branded Fusion if that's literally the only play you have in your hand. And the best part of all is if you don't use it first turn, then you just put it back with all your Tri-brigade effects, and yeah, you really lose nothing from playing this card. After the Gamma, we are of course going to be playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom, the best hand trap in the game right now, especially with Branded Fusion running around. This card is just a 1-card answer to it, so it's very important to have this card. Alongside the Ash, we're also playing 2 copies of Ghost Spell. I really like this hand trap right now, especially drawing it as a 6 card to counter the Branded in red. I think this card's really great, and I would even consider playing 3, but instead I'm playing 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, so test it out yourself, see what you like, depending on what your local scene is. But both of these are great as the 6 card because, again, this addresses Branded in red, and this addresses Griffin Rider. So really, it's up to you how you want to build it. But personally, I find 2 and 2 is pretty good because, again, they're both once per turn, and I'd hate to draw multiples. Now, after these hand traps, I am playing a couple of more one-ofs just to kind of help with the Crossout Designator targets. I'm playing 1 copy of Nibiru, 1 copy of Effect Veiler, and 1 copy of Infinite Impermanence. Now, these cards both see play and don't see play. The game's kind of in a weird place where you have Branded Despia cutting back on hand traps, but you have all these pile decks still trying to play 20 hand traps. And these hand traps are really amazing, and they're also really good against your deck. This deck does play into Nibiru pretty hard, so it's nice to have these one-ofs just in case you run into it, because you're not always going to run into Branded Despia. After these, I am playing 1 more hand trap, and it is the 1 copy of DD Crow. Very searchable in your deck. It has synergy with the Tri-type. There are lines that you can search this out turn 1 for your first turn combo, which is pretty insane, but actually more times than not, what you'll do is when you go to flip Revolt and then you'll banish with Shurig, Afterwards, you'll use your double Dragon Lords and send the Shuriken to grave, and then instead of searching a Tri-brigade like you normally would, you'll actually search the DD Crow as more interruption, because already you're going to have follow-up with the Nerval, and in addition, your Mirror Jade is also going to get you access to a Tri-brigade monster, but again, we'll explain that at the combo in the end. For the last card in the deck, we are of course playing the 1 Revolt. I mentioned it already. You could play 2 of this. I don't think I'd ever play more than 2. Now, don't get me wrong, having multiples is good in the grind, but again, it's not really needed in this build. So that's it for the main deck, 42 cards. If you wanted to make it 40, I would probably consider cutting the Nibiru and maybe a Ghost Ogre, because you're not going to really need to cross out that in your deck particularly. But 42 has been testing pretty dang good for me. Like I said, this deck is pretty dang fun to play. Now, moving on to the extra deck, there's some standard stuff, and then, of course, there's the branded stuff at the end. Some stuff that might look familiar, of course, is the 1 Almirage in case you open the kit or the Nerval and you need to be able to search. Then, of course, we have the Bearbrum, which is the way we search our trap, and it's actually very pivotal for our combo because we do use the discard effect to bring 1 back. We get all this free advantage off of the branded engine, so having that discard 2 really doesn't cost us anything. After that, I am playing 2 copies of Fairjet. You could definitely get away with playing 1, and the second copy is actually my flex slot. I really can't decide when I want to play. Sometimes I play a 3rd Shuriken, and sometimes I just play a generic Link monster to address problematic cards. But test it out yourself, see what you like. Personally, this is what I always fall back on if I really can't decide. For the last couple Link 2s, of course, I mentioned it earlier, we have the double Dragon Lords, an amazing interruption. And like I said, we're going to be going into Verte to dump that branded fusion at the end of the turn. And there are ways that you get to search your trap and not be locked into Tri-brigades, which again, I'll show you at the end. After Link 2s, we only play a couple Link 3s. We have the 1 Rugal, of course, being able to be your generic 3, I guess, for the deck. We also have the Desperate Doom Eagle, which comes in very clutch this format. There are so many cards you want to hit, no matter what deck you're going up against. After the 3s, we have a couple of Link 4s. We're playing 2 copies of Shuriken. Like I mentioned, you could play 3. We also have the 1 Appaloosa, like I mentioned earlier, alongside the Axis Code Talker, which again, if your hand's crazy enough, you can set up the Appaloosa alongside this whole first turn combo I'm about to show you. That's it for the Link monsters. Again, it's nothing really too revolutionary, just the Verte is really the only thing that's normally different. But if you're used to playing the DPE build, then again, that's probably nothing that's different to you. For the branded engine, of course, we're playing the 1 Mirror Jade. This is what you want to end on. In addition, we're also playing 1 Lubellion. The only reason we're playing this card is if you hard draw branded fusion and you literally have no other play. You need to be able to go into Lubellion and then shuffle itself back and the Albaz. That way you can still make Mirror Jade. And the reason why that's still good in your deck, if that really is your only option, is because we're also playing the 1 copy of Glory Dragon, which, in case you don't know, during the end phase of the turn, it's sent to the grave. It doesn't get you a branded spell or trap, it gets you a Tri-brigade monster. And again, you can put it in your hand, or you could special summon it to the field, which is actually really relevant. So that's basically it for the extra deck. Nothing too crazy. Again, the ending board has the Mirror Jade to set up a lot of interruption and a lot of follow-up. So let's hop over to the combo and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, here we are back at the combo table. Like I said, I'm going to show you the 1 card combo with Rescue Cat. There are a bunch of combos that require 2 and 3 cards as well that are all spins of this 1 card combo. So again, if that's something you want to see, just let me know. But as you can see, we have 2 hand traps here. It could be anything. And then we also have 2 bricks. I just wanted to show you that even if you draw bricks, this is still very playable. I think the most notable thing about these bricks is we drew the Albaz, which we need in deck for the branded fusion. But like I said, we put cards back in the deck, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So starting things off, of course, we are going to normal summon our Rescue Cat. Rescue Cat is amazing. Obviously, we're going to tribute it off. That way we can get 2 beasts from the deck. In this case, of course, we're going to get 1 of each, 1 Karas and 1 Kit. And then immediately after that, we will link them off into our Blossom. Kit's effect will then activate, and we can send the Nerval. We'll activate the Nerval effect, and we'll add ourselves a Fractal. And then right after that, we can activate the Blossom to special summon the Fractal from our hand. Once Fractal hits the field, we have 4 engraved, so we can banish them right away. Shuriken will hit the field, and of course, we're not going to banish anything. But immediately after we summon it, we'll link the 2 off. We'll bring out the Bearbrum, and of course, we will now trigger the Shuriken effect. In this particular sequence, we're going to be adding the Mare Courier to hand. There are so many ways we can get this in the grave, whether it's dumping it with Kit or Fractal, or doing what we're doing now where we can add it to hand, and if we had Karas, we can also discard it. In this particular combo, we're actually going to be discarding it off of Bear Broom's effect, and again, we're just going to ditch it alongside one of our other bricks. These two will hit the grave, and then I typically like to bring back Nerval. It really doesn't matter what you bring, but it's a 2k defender that can search cards the next turn. After Nerval hits the field, we do have 3 Tri-type in our grave. We're only going to banish 2 of them, though, for his effect. We'll bring out our deck's first interruption of the combo, and immediately after that, the Mare Courier's effect will activate. Like I mentioned, we're going to be adding Albion from deck to hand, and then immediately after that, we can activate Albion's effect, dumping the Branded Sword to grave, and then putting the Albion back on the bottom of the deck and drawing 1 card. Now that that's all resolved, we can activate the Branded Sword, banishing it to add back the Mare Courier back to hand. And before continuing, you can already see, like, if you had something like Karas, you have another Tri-type now to discard it if you want to extend further. And again, if you don't, this is going to be an effect Veiler, and I'll show you guys right after this. Now, typically in old Tri-brigade, you'd link this off and search the trap for like an Appaloosa or something. But in this case, you actually have to save this for the very end because resolving Anaconda has to be the last thing we do. So in this case, we're just going to link these 2 off and summon ourselves our Verte. Blossom's effect will then activate, allowing us to draw 1 card, and then now we can bottom deck something else. In this case, like I mentioned, we have the Albaz that we want in deck, so might as well put that back. And as you can see already, we have a Mirror Jade play online. We actually fixed our hand with all these bricks, and our board's getting pretty crazy. We'll activate Anaconda's effect, dumping the Branded Fusion from deck to grave, and then after that resolves, we'll grab ourselves that Albaz back, send it to the grave alongside our Bear Broom. Mirror Jade will hit the field, and then of course the Bear Broom will activate. We'll add ourselves the Revolt, and then we can put anything from our hand back to deck. We actually have drawn quite a bit of hand traps, so really it doesn't matter. In this case, I guess I'll just put Effect Veiler back because we have Mare Courier. We'll set the Revolt and we'll pass our turn, and let's take a look at exactly what we got. So right off the bat, our graveyard and our banish zone is just stacked with the Tri-type monsters, so we have a lot of options. Of course, like I mentioned, we do have the Mare Courier as an effect Veiler, or really in any kind of effect negation. We got the double Dragon Lords that can send something to bounce a card, and of course the non-targeting banish with Mirror Jade, and a pseudo board wipe if it does leave the field. Mirror Jade will dump the Glory Dragon, which is actually really insane because this is going to get us a Tri-brigade. And of course, we have the Revolt, so we can bring back 3 guys and then link into Shurig. After that resolves, now we can link 4. Shurig will hit the field, and we'll typically put this as Chainlink 2 and Kit as Chainlink 1. Nerval hits the grave, and then you can add yourself anything, really. So we'll add ourselves a Fractal just for follow-up, I guess. And then, of course, if you haven't used the double Dragon Lords, you can use its effect to send the Shurig, like I mentioned earlier, bouncing a card, and then, of course, we still have a couple of guys banished. And you can either search yourself another follow-up for the next turn, maybe grabbing a Nerval or a Kit or Karas, or, like I said, if you need another interruption, simply add the DD Crow. End phase will come around, your Glory Dragon will activate, and instead of adding the Tri-brigade to hand, I actually prefer to special summon it. Typically, I'll bring out something like Nerval or Kit. It just really depends, but I guess in this case, I will bring out Kit. We'll draw for turn, and that's kind of insane, but whatever you draw, you'll always have a Tri-brigade on the field. You'll have whatever else you had, and again, if you didn't need the DD Crow, this could have also been the Karas. So you'll have a normal summon, a special summon, and a Tri-brigade already on the field. So giving you 3 summons without even doing anything else. So that's it for the 1-card combo, and like I said, some of the other combos can go even further than this. And we didn't even mention how we had hand traps in the hand, but you're not always going to have those, even though we do play like 14. Trust me, this deck is a lot of fun to play, so if you haven't tried it, please try it yourself. This has definitely been one of my favorite decks to at least splash a little bit of Branded into. Like I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. The channel has been growing super fast, and I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting. Check me out on Twitter, and of course, I have my Twitch account already set up, so go ahead and hop over and follow me on there. I'm hoping if my schedule is free, I can start streaming as soon as this week, but if not, for sure, hopefully the next week, I'll be able to bring you guys a live stream. Here's hoping to see you guys next time. Peace.